My wealthy roommate not only bullied me, but also stole my scholarship, and I was an orphan. I went to the counselor to reason with her, but Miss Clark said I was just stirring up trouble and revoked my qualification to join the National Honor Society. I went to Dean Anderson in tears, but he directly presented me with expulsion papers. You dare to offend the daughter of a school board member? You think you can still study here? They set fire to my parents' belongings and yelled at me, "You deserve to be an orphan. Your ancestors must have done all sorts of bad things. This is your retribution." Ignoring the burns on my hands, I pulled a metal chest out of the fire. Later, I held the metal chest filled with my family's medals of valor and knelt in front of the Fort Sheridan entrance, shouting in grief, "Here, take these back. Please give me back my family." My grandfather defended the country, my father guarded the border, my mother went against the tide in Newport, my brother's police badge was sealed away, and I once performed an act of bravery. I just want to know, what retribution do I deserve? After hastily eating a sandwich in the cafeteria, I hurriedly carried 3 portions of food back to the dorm. Ashley Davis had just taken a bite when she picked up the wonton soup and splashed it on my face. "You expect me to eat in the dead of winter?" I jumped back, scalded, and before I could react, my other 2 roommates kicked me to the ground. Countless fists and feet landed on me, both painful and numb. This wasn't the first time. Just because I was an easy-to-bully orphan, they deliberately found fault and took their anger out on me whenever they were in a bad mood. My face hit the floor and bounced back, the scalding soup choking my nose and mouth. I couldn't even cry, spitting out a mouthful of bloody phlegm. Ashley Davis grinned, stepping on my shoulder and reaching into my pocket. "The food's ruined, you should pay for it, right?" But all she pulled out was some crumpled change and a neatly folded watercolor. "So poor," Ashley Davis spat. Lillian Lily Johnson next to her looked equally disgusted. "I heard she not only works part-time cleaning toilets every day, but also goes to the trash cans after school to scavenge for plastic bottles to sell." How disgusting. Ashley Davis curled her lips and unfolded the watercolor with curiosity, bursting into laughter. On the paper, childish strokes outlined a family of 6. She held the watercolor up to my face, her voice mocking. "This scribbling can't be your family portrait, right?" How hilarious. Then, a burst of laughter erupted, sharp and piercing. "Ha ha ha, her whole family is dead, and she still has a family portrait? Jinxed! You're bad luck. No wonder my boyfriend broke up with me, it's all because of this bitch. Living in the same dorm with her is so unlucky, I can't even enjoy a meal." Hearing this, Ashley Davis covered her mouth and snickered, looking pleased with herself. "It's okay, I got her scholarship, and I'll take you out for steak and manicures." Wow. The other 2 looked at her with stars in their eyes. Ashley Davis is awesome. I struggled to look up, my eyes red as I questioned her. "The scholarship was confirmed to be mine. Why are you taking it when you're so rich?" "I'm going to report you." She bent down and patted my face. "The rules of the world are made by us upper-class people, you know? It's no use even if you report me to the authorities." She smiled as she tore the watercolor to shreds, piece by piece. The fragments fell like snowflakes, hitting my face. I froze. This painting was a picture of my family reunited in my dreams. But after waking up, the desolate world only had a row of portraits of the deceased in the living room and cold medals of valor. I cried as I drew that picture on paper, imagining myself as a happy child surrounded by my family. But now, it was all torn apart by her. I struggled to get up and lunged at Ashley Davis with a yell, biting her wrist. "Aw, you dog!" Ashley Davis cried out in pain, grabbing her latest model iPhone and smashing it against my face, again and again, until my vision spun and I fell to the ground again. Ashley Davis gritted her teeth fiercely. No one cares if an orphan like you is beaten to death. Beat her to death. I was really afraid of being beaten to death, so I mustered my last bit of willpower and burst out of the door. Blood flowed down my forehead, blurring my vision. People gave me strange looks along the way, but I still ran forward desperately. I understood that repeated tolerance only led to escalating abuse. This time, no matter what, I had to find the counselor and seek justice for myself. At the office door, I saw the counselor showing off her new designer purse from afar. My eyes red, I rushed in and called out her name, full of hope. Ms. Clark. She paused, looked me up and down, and waved her hand at me as if she'd been electrocuted. Get out of here. Don't you dare get my new designer purse dirty with your slovenly appearance. After she put the designer purse away, she glanced at me impatiently. What is it? Ashley Davis and the others have been bullying me, and today they even beat me like this. I pointed to my forehead anxiously. Who? Ashley Davis? The counselor's eyes darted around, and then she sighed. It's normal for students to have squabbles. It's hard for teachers to interfere. Hard to interfere? I thought I misheard. After realizing what she meant, I asked again, what about my scholarship? Ms. Clark, my scholarship is still mine, right? No one took it, right? I asked, tears in my eyes, meeting her guilty gaze. She pretended to be busy, picked up her teacup, took a sip, and spoke after a long pause. I forgot to tell you, Ashley Davis needs that scholarship more than you do. A surge of anger rushed to my head, and I felt like my entire value system had been shattered. Ashley Davis is so rich, why does she Ave to steal a poor person's scholarship? Everyone is equal, shouldn't rich people be entitled to scholarships too? The counselor's attitude became increasingly impatient. I choked up and said, but I'm an orphan, how am I supposed to live without the scholarship? She smirked. No, it's true that you're an orphan, but the policy doesn't say that scholarships have to be given to orphans. There are so many orphans in the world, are we supposed to send money to all of them? As she spoke, the phone on the desk suddenly lit up, and the counselor subconsciously tapped it open. Ashley Davis's voice came through clearly. Ms. Clark, do you like the designer purse my mom sent you? Oh, right, she's probably going to find you now. You know what to do, right? The counselor fumbled to turn it off, but I still heard everything. I pointed to the designer purse, trembling. Just because you accepted a gift from her parents, you're going to drive me to my doom? Exposed, the counselor instantly flew into a rage, grabbing a book and throwing it at my head. I see you're used to making slanderous accusations. I've always been fair and impartial, and my students would never bully others. Already injured, I couldn't withstand the force and fell to the ground with a thud. The counselor looked down at me, glaring fiercely. I'm kindly reminding you, Ashley Davis's family is powerful, and as an orphan, you're courting death by going against her. Lying on the ground, I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. You'll get your retribution. The counselor's chest rose and fell violently, and she suddenly turned around to rummage through the materials on the desk. Then, she pulled out my application for joining the National Honor Society from inside and tore it to shreds. With your level of ideological awareness, I won't be your recommender anymore, and you don't deserve to be a member. Moreover, I'm going to give you a major demerit, and you can forget about applying for student loans. In the future. She grabbed me by the collar and threw me out of the office, and I landed heavily on the floor. The necklace around my neck suddenly broke, and the spent bullet casing on the string fell to the ground. Clang! Clang, clang. The crisp sound echoed in the corridor, like a mournful cry. Looking at the spent bullet casing, I seemed to see my father's weathered face. Before my father went to war, he personally hung the necklace made from the spent bullet casing around my neck, gently stroking my face. Your grandfather sacrificed heroically in the Korean conflict, and his remains were never found. This spent bullet casing was picked up from the battlefield by your grandfather's comrade in arms. It's the last bullet your grandfather fired to defend our country. It accompanied your father in winning so many battles. Today, I'm giving this lucky charm to you to protect our baby, so she can grow up healthy and live a happy life. But my father went with red flowers on his chest and returned with the national flag draped over him. I struggled to crawl forward, clutching the spent bullet casing tightly in my hand, crying uncontrollably. Dad, are you sad for me too? Dad, I don't want you to win any more battles. Can you come back? Dad. A pair of hands touched my cheek, wiping away my tears. I looked up, and the young Miss Sue looked at me with a face full of heartache. Child, it's no use reasoning with her. If it doesn't work, let's go find Dean Anderson. Hope rekindled in my heart. Miss Sue helped me walk towards Dean Anderson's office. Just as we reached the door, we ran into Dean Anderson. Miss Sue quickly explained the whole story and showed Dean Anderson my injuries. Dean Anderson frowned and said in a deep voice, I understand, you can go back to work, Miss Sue. Miss Sue shook her head. I'm worried. Dean Anderson suddenly coughed heavily, his voice filled with anger. As an intern teacher, you should focus on doing your job properly. Miss Sue dared and slowly let go of my hand. She looked back with every step as she left. Once she disappeared from sight, Dean Anderson glanced at me. Bullying? Do you have any evidence? I found it strange. Weren't these injuries all over me evidence enough? Just as I was about to speak, a group of girls came out of Dean Anderson's office, laughing and giggling. Ashley Davis, who was at the front, looked at me and smiled slyly. Uncle Chin, don't listen to her nonsense. The other two echoed, yeah, she just couldn't get the scholarship, so she deliberately slandered us. Dean Anderson smiled gently at Ashley Davis, as if he had changed faces. Ashley Davis, I've watched you grow up since you were a kid. Of course I know you wouldn't do something like this. It was like being hit on the back of the head with a club, and I was stunned. I was filled with deep despair, and even the last spark of hope was extinguished. Dean Anderson stepped forward with his big belly, smiling as he leaned close to my ear. It's just about money. Come to my office when no one's around, and I'll give you $200. I raised my hand and slapped him, and then I called the police. But as soon as the police arrived, they surrounded me. Because Dean Anderson accused me of assault, and Ashley Davis accused me of defamation. The police worked based on evidence, but I had no witnesses to prove my innocence. On the contrary, Ashley Davis united a group of students to point the finger at me. They said I was arrogant, slandered her for bullying when I couldn't get the scholarship, and even hit Dean Anderson. In the end, Principal Wilson was alarmed by this incident. In front of all the students, Principal Wilson accused me of publicly slandering classmates, assaulting teachers, and affecting the school's reputation by calling the police, saying that I was of bad character and expelling me. I couldn't explain myself, and I wanted the police to uphold justice for me. But the police were also in a difficult position. The expulsion is the school's decision, and we have no right to interfere. One of the female officers signaled to me with her eyes. I heard she's the daughter of a school board member, and her family has connections. You can't fight City Hall. So, I deserve to be beaten? In order to protect the bully, they had to expel me? I just felt like I couldn't breathe and was about to fall into despair. Seeing that I looked weak and was about to faint, she put her arms around me. Auntie will take you to get bandaged, and you must be hungry. In that gentle embrace, I seemed to smell my mother's scent. The female officer took me to a diner and ordered me a bowl of dumplings. As she ate, she talked to her daughter on the phone. She smiled and promised her daughter, Mom will go home and be with you after work. Be good, baby. Tears added a salty taste to the dumplings, and I shoved the dumplings into my mouth with tears streaming down my face. My mother hadn't made those dumplings, which symbolized family reunion, since I was 10 years old. Because one by one, the people in my family had died. In my memory, my mother was always crying. The last time I saw her cry was at my brother's memorial service. My brother, who was missing an arm, was wrapped in the national flag and lying in a coffin. My mother staggered and raised her hand to slap him in the face. "Didn't we agree? How could you leave before me? The deeper the love, the greater the hatred." My mother had endured too much. Before she could even sort out her emotions, my mother went to the Newport front line the next day. When she came back, she had become a certificate of an anti-epidemic hero. I shouted for my mom and dad in the empty house. But only my echo answered me. All they left me was the metal chest full of medals of valor. I just wanted to know, what were these things for? After finishing my meal, I said goodbye to the female officer and prepared to go back to school to pack my things. As soon as I walked to the bottom of the dormitory building, I found the place in an uproar. In the center of the crowd, Ashley Davis was throwing my belongings into a bonfire one by one, laughing with glee. "These are all unlucky things, burning them will get rid of the bad luck." Until I saw the metal chest in the center of the flames, I rushed over like a madman. I didn't seem to feel any pain, and I used my bare hands to dig through the flames. Amidst the gazes of everyone looking at me like an idiot, my hands were blistering from the fire. Finally, I managed to retrieve the metal chest and hugged it tightly. Ashley Davis and her group were still laughing. "Cheap stuff, treating it like a treasure. Maybe if she sells it, she can get a few bucks, ha ha ha." I didn't say a word, and I walked away with the trunk in my arms. At the school gate, I used the few dollars I had left to take a taxi. The taxi stopped at the Fort Sheridan entrance, and the driver didn't even want the money, speeding away in a puff of smoke. My mother once said that these medals were our family's pride and unparalleled honor. But I didn't want any honor. Now I just wanted to know if these things could bring back my family. I limped to the base entrance, opened the metal chest, knelt directly at the door, and shouted through my tears, "Here, take these back. Please give me back my family." The guard heard the sound and ran out of the guardhouse, looking puzzled. But when he saw what was in my trunk, he gasped. One medal of honor after another, one certificate after another, neatly stacked together. Even after so many years in the military, he had never seen so many medals of valor. What an honor this was! Without saying a word, he rushed back inside to report, almost tripping in his haste. Before long, a group of men in military uniforms came running towards me in a panic. I vaguely remembered seeing the leading officer at my father's funeral. My father had sacrificed himself to save him. Then. The officer paused, then ushered me inside, at a loss for words. As soon as we sat down, he asked me with concern, "Child, where is your father?" I picked up a Medal of Honor from the pile, along with a certificate of fallen hero with my father's name on it. My father lied. He went to the border and never came back. I don't have a father anymore. After seeing the name on the certificate, the officer's eyes suddenly turned red. "You're Jianjun's child?" The young soldier next to him quickly asked, "What about your mother?" I took out an anti-epidemic hero certificate from the trunk, and tears fell on it like raindrops. My mother went to Newport a few years ago. When the mission was over, she also died in the job she loved the most. Then what is this blood-stained military uniform? My brother was a narcotics police officer. When he was found, his whole body was shattered, skinned, and buried deep in the mountains. Everyone choked up, their eyes falling on a dim medal before suddenly looking up. "What's the matter with this medal?" My grandfather fought in the Korean conflict and was buried in a foreign land. Amidst the shocked gazes, I picked up the act of bravery certificate. During a sudden flood, a child was swept away, and I jumped in and almost lost half my life to save him, and I got this in return. After I finished speaking, the iron-blooded men all shed tears. What a wonderful child! How did you get so injured? Tell us what happened, and we'll definitely get justice for you. I told them everything that had happened. Everyone was outraged, slamming their fists on the table. These beasts, they dare to bully the orphan of a fallen hero. Do they think we're dead? Even if I have to take off this military uniform today, I will get justice for you. That day, the phones at the base were ringing off the hook, contacting major military regions to have them claim the family members of the fallen hero. The officer solemnly promised me that he would give me a satisfactory result. While everyone inside was talking at once, an old man with white hair walked in with a cane. He was wearing a business suit, and his wrinkled eyes were filled with tears. As soon as they saw the person who had come, everyone stood up straight and saluted in unison. "Hello, General." The general walked straight towards me, his righteous face breaking into tears when he saw the necklace around my neck. "You really are the granddaughter of the regimental general." He rubbed the spent bullet casing with his thumb, his eyes lost in painful memories. "I personally handed this to your father. I never thought that one day you would bring this spent bullet casing to accuse us." Without warning, he suddenly bent his knees and knelt down towards me. I quickly helped him up, panicking. "Grandpa, I can't accept this. It's not that the country doesn't care about us, but as soldiers, sacrificing for the country is an honor. In order not to cause trouble for the country, we have always refused the country's preferential treatment." He didn't have to do this at all. The old general shook his head, looking at me with guilt in his eyes. "The Smith family has lived up to the country and their ancestors, but we can't even protect a weak woman like you. I don't deserve to be a soldier of the people." After he finished speaking, he started slapping himself in the face, scaring me so much that I quickly hugged him. "Grandpa, it's not your fault. I really don't blame you." After much comforting, he finally calmed down a little. He first looked at me from head to toe with fondness. When he noticed the dense wounds on my body, his expression turned to sorrow again. "Child, you've suffered." He stroked my head, as if he had made up his mind. "You get some rest tonight, and we will definitely give you an explanation." The others echoed. "That's right, just wait for us to avenge you. We can't let heroes bleed and cry." Looking at their sincere faces, I truly saw hope. All my emotions surged to my chest, and I gave them a deep bow. "General, thank you. Uncles, thank you." "Ah, don't call me General, call me Grandpa Mang. From now on, you're my granddaughter." His expression was serious, filled with complex emotions. My eyes suddenly turned red, and I choked up as I said, "Thank you, Grandpa Mang." They arranged for me to be admitted to the base hospital, gave me a thorough examination, and issued a medical report. That night, the base hospital was bustling with activity. All of my family's former comrades in arms came to see me, surrounding me. One moment they were asking if I was hungry, and the next they were asking if I was cold. They were afraid that I would be wronged in the slightest. Under the general's instructions, the base called Principal Wilson. But as soon as Principal Wilson heard it was the base, he cursed and hung up the phone. When they called back, the line was dead. The officer was so angry that he trembled, slamming his fist on the table and cursing, "How did this good-for-nothing become a principal?" Grandpa Mang didn't have that kind of patience, and he directly ordered the guards to drive me to the front. Retracing this road, but this time I walked with my head held high. Because this time I wasn't alone anymore. As the car drove towards the school, Grandpa Mang's brow never unfurled, as if he was brewing some big move. As soon as the car stopped at the door, a familiar figure came into view. Not far away, The counselor was carrying shopping bags in both hands, laughing and giggling with Ashley Davis. It looked like they had just come back from shopping. The two were as close as sisters, and Ashley Davis smiled and patted the counselor on the shoulder. My mom is very satisfied with Ms. Clark's handling of things. If Evelyn Young dares to come back, tell me and I'll kill her. Don't worry, she doesn't have the guts to come back. The counselor laughed as if you could see her stomach. Th. Joyful atmosphere was suddenly interrupted by my appearance. Seeing me slowly getting out of the car, Ashley Davis paused, then snorted with a laugh. I was just looking for you, and you came to my door. Are you courting death? Let's see who dares to say my granddaughter is courting death. Grandpa Meng, with a face full of dignity, stepped in front of me with the help of the plainclothes guard. His hawk-like eyes swept over Ashley Davis, with the sharp, decisive look of a veteran. The counselor and Ashley Davis exchanged glances, and then they laughed so hard that they couldn't close their mouths. Where did you find this cheap grandpa? What, did you come to question us? After the counselor had laughed enough, she cleared her throat and said contemptuously, why bother so much? How about this, you give me a 50-gram gold bracelet, and I'll consider giving you a chance. You kneel down and ask Ashley Davis for forgiveness, and I'll let you come back to school. Then, the two of them laughed again, bending over with laughter. Grandpa Meng clenched his cane tightly, and said with a sneer, I don't have a gold bracelet, how about a silver one? The counselor didn't understand the deeper meaning, and instead glared at Grandpa Meng with disdain. You old geezer, do you think I'm stupid? Silver isn't worth anything. The guard, who couldn't stand it any longer, kicked the counselor in the stomach without any politeness. The counselor screamed and fell backwards to the ground, the shopping bags scattering everywhere. She sat up and was about to start cursing, but Grandpa Meng slammed my medical report against her forehead. You dare to ask for a gold bracelet after beating my granddaughter like this? The counselor looked at the strong guard and was too scared to say anything. Ashley Davis instantly realized that the situation was bad, and she took a few steps back, picking up her iPhone to call her dad. Dad, Evelyn Young brought some poor relative to school to make TRO. Trouble for me, and they brought some kind of medical report. Yes, I'm at the school gate right now, hurry over here. After hanging up the phone, she instantly gained a bit more confidence. An old geezer with one foot in the grave, trying to act like he's got my back. Aren't you just trying to extort money? I'll send you to meet God today. Grandpa Meng wasn't worried at all. In fact, it was like he was hoping Ashley Davis's dad would hurry up and come. In less than 10 minutes, several black SUVs screeched to a halt at the door. 3 to 5 burly bodyguards in black business suits got out of each car. Ashley Davis's dad walked out of the car with his head held high, and it looked like he was accompanied by a big shot. The man opened his mouth with a majestic air. You're assaulting people at the school gate. Do you believe I'll have you all arrested? Ashley Davis's dad spun the walnuts in his hand, looking disdainful. It's not that simple. You dared to threaten my daughter. I want you to compensate me $2 million for emotional distress. The guard next to him was already reaching for his piece, but Grandpa Meng stopped him with his hand. He smiled calmly, as if he had everything under control. I want to see how much power is behind all this. Uproot it all for me. Ashley Davis's dad paused in his spinning, looking disdainful. Old geezer, you're all talk. I'm just afraid I'll kill you if I make a move, otherwise you wouldn't be standing here talking to me. When the police come, you'll be begging me for mercy. Sure enough, as soon as the police came, Ashley Davis used the same trick again, telling them how we were bullying her with a face full of grievances. The police naturally wouldn't listen to her one-sided story, but it was necessary to take them to the police station for questioning. Just as they were about to pull Grandpa Meng into the police car, the guard next to him immediately pulled out his military ID. We are soldiers, you have no right to investigate us. Ashley Davis's dad paused for a moment, leaning over to take a look. After a moment, he laughed loudly. I thought you had some big background. A mere lieutenant. Do you know who I am? Do you believe I can make a phone call and ruin you? Just as he finished speaking, several large military trucks came rumbling around the corner. Behind the military vehicles, several police cars followed closely, their lights flashing. A strong wind blew overhead, stirring up dust on the ground. I looked up and saw an armed helicopter circling overhead. The hatch opened, and a group of armed troops parachuted down. It was just like a scene from a movie. A group of soldiers holding their weapons surrounded us. The leader gave the order, military control, seal off the area. Ashley Davis's dad was stunned, unable to react for a long time. No, I was just saying it. You don't need to make such a big deal out of it. He stared at Ashley Davis with wide eyes. Who did you offend? What's going on? Ashley Davis was also confused, but she looked certain. She's just an orphan, there's no way she could have such a big background. Don't worry, Dad, it must be a coincidence. Before long, Dean Anderson, along with Principal Wilson, were summoned. They stood there like chicks being scolded, clueless about what was happening. Ashley Davis's father confidently tried to reassure them. Relax, it's not about Ashley, probably just an inspection. They breathed a sigh of relief. However, as the troops gathered, several soldiers marched in formation towards Grandpa Meng and gave him a crisp salute. General-in-Chief, we've all arrived. After speaking, they saluted me with powerful voices. We are Evelyn Yang's father's comrades. We are Evelyn Yang's brother's colleagues. Grandpa Meng, adorned with medals of valor in his military uniform, walked through the crowd, as imposing as a towering statue. Evelyn Yang's grandfather was my brother, and a national hero. Grandpa M. Ing took my hand, his eyes like daggers scraping over Ashley Davis. Now is the time for us to seek justice for the orphan of a fallen hero. Ashley Davis was dumbfounded and collapsed to the ground. Impossible, I didn't know. Even the counselor, as dim as she was, understood what was happening. She immediately knelt down and kowtowed to me. Evelyn Young, it's all a misunderstanding. The teacher was petty. Please don't hold it against me. If the teacher had known you were the descendant of a hero, I definitely wouldn't have treated you that way. Grandpa Meng stepped forward, trembling, and with all his might slapped the counselor across the face. You said the female student didn't have a recommender for joining the National Honor Society, so you wouldn't let her join? The counselor was stunned by the slap, covering her face, unable to react for a long time. Several uncles stepped forward from behind, surrounding the counselor like vengeful ghosts, shouting, I've been a member of the organization for 20 years. Am I qualified to be a recommender for joining the National Honor Society? I've been a member of the organization for 35 years. Am I qualified to be a recommender for joining the National Honor Society? I've been a member of the organization for 60 years. Am I qualified to be a recommender for joining the National Honor Society? The roars echoed like thunder. The counselor, terrified, stumbled back a few steps, her face full of tears. Enough, enough, it's all because I was blind. Realizing what was happening, she lunged forward and hugged my leg, crying so hard she was shaking all over. Teacher was wrong, really wrong. The little guard kicked her away. This is the person who just asked the General-in-Chief for a gold bracelet. Dean Anderson staggered, almost fainting. Grandpa Meng waved his hand, impatient. Investigate her embezzlement and bribery. Punish her severely. Hearing this, the counselor rolled her eyes and passed out. Dean and Erson, whose legs were still shaking, met Grandpa Meng's gaze the next second. Grandpa Meng gritted his teeth, wishing he could devour him on the spot. And this scumbag, harassing students, morally corrupt. He slowly turned his head and asked the police, who were still in shock, what should be done with him? The captain in the lead trembled and quickly replied respectfully, detention for investigation. If it is found that he has a history of harassing other students, he will be sentenced. Dean Anderson rolled his eyes and fainted as well. Principal Wilson, who was hiding behind the crowd, wrung his hands nervously, hoping to escape unscathed. However, Grandpa Meng walked straight towards him. Each step was like stabbing him in the heart with a knife. His body softened, unable to stand, and he knelt down, wailing and crying. I was bewitched by them. I didn't know. This matter has nothing to do with me. Seeing that Grandpa Meng was silent, he slid towards me on his knees and cowed out a few more times. Ms. Young, please say a few good words for me. For the sake of me being your principal, I really didn't do it on purpose. I looked down at him and smiled coldly. Principal Wilson, you already expelled me. Seeing me speak, Grandpa Meng slammed his cane on the ground. Unable to distinguish right from wrong, colluding with evil, your time as university principal is over. Amidst Principal Wilson's pleas for mercy, he was dragged away. Now, the real reckoning had begun. Ashley Davis's father was ready to kneel down and apologize at any moment. However, Ashley Davis, who had been spoiled for too long and lived a life of superiority, did not realize the seriousness of the situation. She pointed at Grandpa Meng's nose and spoke rudely. So what if you're a big shot? Are you going to bully me just because you have more people? As she spoke, she took out her iPhone and pointed the camera at Grandpa Meng's face. Come on, hit me, and I'll post it online, so everyone see. NC soldiers bullying average citizens. If you dare to touch me, I'll ruin your reputation. Seeing the crowd showing embarrassed expressions, Ashley Davis showed a smug smile. However, before she could be proud for a few seconds, a thin old man suddenly rushed out of the crowd and slapped Ashley Davis across the face. No one knew what was going on, so naturally no one thought to stop him. Ashley Davis was sent flying to the ground, and her iPhone screen shattered. She raised her head to start cursing, but when she saw the face of the person who hit her, her pupils shrank. Grandpa? The old man didn't listen to her at all and kicked her again. Even feeling that hitting her wasn't enough to vent his anger, he looked around on the ground, picked up a large, hard rock, and smashed it towards Ashley Davis's wrist. One strike after another, with all his might, as if he wouldn't stop until she was dead. Grandpa, I'm Ash. Please don't hit me. Ashley Davis wailed, clutching her broken wrist, unable to straighten her back from the pain. Ashley Davis's grandfather still refused to stop, hitting and scolding. You can't touch the orphan of a fallen hero, not even a finger, and you dare to bully her. If this hadn't spread, I wouldn't have known you were doing such evil deeds. Which hand did you hit her with? You won't say? Then I'll break both your hands. His tone was completely serious, scaring Ashley Davis's father into begging for mercy. Dad, hitting her a couple of times is enough. She's your granddaughter. Ashley Davis's grandfather suddenly turned his head, his gaze towards Ashley Davis's father filled with, Granddaughter? I'll beat you to death too. I'll directly end my bloodline. As he spoke, he picked up the stone and smashed it towards Ashley Davis's father's head. Ashley Davis's father grunted and fell straight to the ground. Ashley Davis's grandfather looked at his dented skull, tears flowing down the grooves of his wrinkles. Without the country. Why, where is the family? The fact that you can live like this, looking like a human being, is all thanks to their fathers who exchanged their lives for it. You have really disgraced my old face. He sobbed, looking up at me. Taking difficult steps, he slowly knelt down towards me. I looked helplessly at Grandpa Meng, but Grandpa Meng signaled me to wait and see. After 3 bows, Ashley Davis's grandfather raised his head. Robert Joe, former platoon leader of the artillery battalion of the 4th Military Region, kowtows to the orphan of a fallen hero to admit his guilt. He said slowly, with tears streaming down his face. After retiring from the army, I went into business, and because I was busy with business, I lacked discipline for my children and grandchildren, which led to this terrible mistake. Although I am no longer a soldier, the soul of a soldier is still in my heart. Today, my children have committed a great mistake. No matter how you punish them, even if you punish me, I will not say a word of complaint. He lowered his head, looking completely humble. Perhaps at this moment, he also understood that his lifelong reputation had been ruined today. The beliefs he once held as a soldier had been shattered by his own children. I chose silence, which was the greatest punishment for him. After returning, they immediately launched an investigation into the relevant personnel at Hillsdale University. Lily Johnson and others were indeed found to have bullied classmates, their admission offers were revoked, and they were expelled. Ashley Davis's father bribed others, operated illegally, and the forces behind him were all exposed, awaiting severe legal punishment. Ms. Clark, the counselor, was found guilty of accepting bribes, was expelled from the party, her teaching certificate was revoked, and she was permanently banned from employment. Dean Anderson was found guilty of harassing students and was jointly sued in court by family members, awaiting sentencing. Principal Wilson was found to have embezzled public funds and accepted bribes. His illegal income was confiscated, and he was imprisoned. Hillsdale University restored my reputation, restored my enrollment, and gave me priority in evaluations and awards. The scholarship that belonged to me was finally returned to me. Grandpa Mang, fearing that I would be lonely, transferred me to his household after several applications. The Mang family was overjoyed and held a grand party to welcome me as a new member. Although it wasn't my birthday, they still scrambled to put birthday hats on me. They sang birthday songs around me in circles. Great, I have another daughter. Little sister, you should call me brother from now on, your brother will protect you. I seem to really have a new home. One morning, on a sunny day, my new mother busily changed me into new clothes and even put on light makeup for me. She was being mysterious, only telling me that I was going to meet someone today. I pursed my lips. Actually, I also had a secret I wanted to tell them. The car drove all the way and stopped at the Fallen Hero Cemetery. In front of the flower-filled cemetery, a row of soldiers had been waiting for a long time. Seeing the scene before me, my eyes gradually filled with tears, and I took heavy steps forward. The sun shone brightly on the red star on the tombstone, shining brightly. Beneath the red star lay my grandfather, my father, my mother, and my brother. Grandpa Mang placed a bouquet of flowers and wiped away a tear. He gazed at my grandfather's tombstone as if chatting with family. Old comrade, rest assured, this little rascal is very sensible, worthy of being your descendant. You won't blame me, will you? Blaming me is useless, this good granddaughter will be mine from now on. He could hardly say the last sentence completely. I stroked their names on the tombstone, as if stroking their cheeks. Grandpa, Dad, Mom, brother, I am very happy, I am very content. My new mother quickly came to support me. Okay, good daughter, you can go to school with peace of mind from now on, your future is in our hands. I'm not going to school anymore, I said softly. The air suddenly fell silent, and Grandpa Mang cast a questioning look. What's wrong? Did someone make you feel wronged? I shook my head, revealing a relieved smile. I applied to enlist in the army, and it has been approved. At that moment, everyone present was silent. The breeze brushed my face, like my mother's murmur. The sunrise in the sky was brilliant, and I looked at the red tombstones that stretched as far as the eye could see. Green mountains are everywhere to bury loyal bones. Why need a horse hide to return the body? Mom and Dad, I will also become your pride.